And today I have Dr. Larry Weinstein. He is a board certified plastic surgeon in Chester, New Jersey.
Hi, Lexi. How are you?
Good, good. Can you tell me a little bit about your practice and how you got into plastic surgery?
Well, it's not easy becoming a plastic surgeon. First, you have to become a physician. Then you have to be a surgeon. And then you have to study to be a plastic surgeon. So after 12 years of medical school and surgical training, I started my practice here in Chester, New Jersey, 30 years ago. And I'm still very excited about plastic surgery. I think it's one of the most exciting fields of medicine. And I'm still so happy I'm able to help so many people on a regular basis.
So what's your favorite part about being a plastic surgeon?
Well, my favorite part is having people come in who have a problem that they want to have fixed and being able to analyze that problem and coming up with a solution for that problem. Like a woman came in, she had bad jowls and a bad neckline. And she was 60 something years old and she was upset by it and she wanted to have it fixed. We talked about fillers, we talked about Botox, but the reality was that it was time for her to have a facelift. The only thing that was going to fix her jowls and her neckline was a facelift. So we discussed what the possibilities were for that and what was involved and what was the recovery time. And after careful consideration and consultation with a significant other, she decided to have it done. And we were able to do that for her, and she was so pleased with the outcome. Her sister, who was older than her, also came in and had it done. And they were both very pleased. And now the younger sister, who now looks older than the two older sisters, is a little bit jealous. And she's coming also to have a procedure as well.
That's awesome. Is that common? Do you usually have families kind of come in together?
Well, sometimes I have a grandchild who unfortunately might fall down and have a little laceration, and I will take care of the situation, fix the laceration, and make sure that the outcome is barely visible to everybody. Then invariably, grandma comes in and says, I've been looking for someone to do my facelift, and can you please do it for me, Dr. Weinstein? And we discuss it. And then mom decides, I'm done having kids. I'm not having any more children. These kids ruined my bodies. My breasts are down to my navel. My tummy is down to my mid-thighs. Everything is all stretched out. Can you fix this one? And we talk about a mommy makeover. This is not something that we take lightly. It is a significant procedure. But mommies have a right to have their bodies again if they decide to have it.
And so what's your least favorite part about being a plastic surgeon?
That's difficult to think. I think when a patient isn't happy, hurts me. And, the only thing I want to do is please them and make things be as right as possible. And when things don't go well, it really bothers me. Albeit it's very rare that it does occur, but if it does, I'm affected. I think one time I did a breast reduction on a gal, and she was so looking forward to the breast reduction. We were so excited for her. But unfortunately, the day I was doing the surgery, I found some things that looked very unusual, and I removed them and sent them for pathological analysis. And on that Monday morning, I got the pathology back. I had to tell her that she had breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
It was my least favorable thing to do. And the last thing I wanted to tell a woman who was so pleased with her new breasts after having a reduction, being relieved of her back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, and now having perky breasts for the first time in her life, to tell her she had breast cancer. But we ended up taking care of her that week. I got a hold of a general surgeon to take care of her, and we took care of the tumors, and she's still around. So it was a good thing. It was a godsend that we were able to find it and treat her in a timely fashion. One of the most pathetic things is I had a patient come in the other day with a tumor on his forehead, and I was able to remove the tumor and make it look like nothing was removed. It involved some very tiny flaps, and to get it together as perfectly as possible. And he was saying his golf buddies don't see any issue there, and they all knew he had a huge tumor. But his wife, unfortunately, has breast cancer, and she's deciding to try homeotherapy type of products for breast cancer. And unfortunately, I trained at Sloan Kettering, and I've seen the worst. So the longer you prolong your treatment of breast cancer, the worse the prognosis is. A woman who is diagnosed with something like that really owes it to herself and her family to seek prompt treatment and get it taken care of.
Yeah. Is there like a specific demographic that is easier or more difficult to get along with and to work with? Like I hear a lot about millennials and a lot about baby boomers, and I'm sure you work with everyone.
You know what? I get along with 2-year-olds and I get 80-year-olds. I think the key is finding common ground. I think everyone has something that they enjoy, and discussing something that someone enjoys cuts the anxiety a little. Like a 2-year-old, they like to play with an iPhone or an iPad or some computer game that the older brothers or sisters want. So if you give them that and they can talk about that little game, they're happy. It used to be I could sing songs to them like Old MacDonald and they'd be fun. But today we need electronics. The millennials come in, they have significant problems. I had a millennial come in. She had a very high forehead. Her hairline was very high, and she was looking very bright, but she didn't like the fact that her hairline was so high. So I was able to do a procedure where I brought the hairline down. I made a little nick in front of the hairline, and I brought it down a good inch. And subsequently, she looked much younger, and she thought she looked better. And I agreed with her. It really made a big difference for her. And the question is, am I going to look like Frankenstein after this? No, I'm not going to be putting railroad track scars on somebody. I use something to And the other thing is I cut on a bevel so that the hair grows into the line. There are certain tricks as a plastic surgeon we understand and we utilize, and I utilize, to try to ensure the successful outcome for patients. And whether it's a millennial or I had an 84-year-old woman come. She wanted to have a facelift. I said, why are you coming so old? My cardiologist sent me. What do you mean my cardiologist sent me? I can't see. I have problems with my eyes. I can't drive. I have a boyfriend 15 years younger than me. He drives me around. But I'm looking older, so I got to look younger. All right. So the cardiologist cleared she had a heart like a 20-year-old problem. And we did a facelift for her. And as far as I know, the guy's still driving her around. She can't see very well, but,
Wow. Do you do mostly cosmetic procedures or like non-cosmetic? Like, do you do trauma procedures too?
I was chief of the service at Morristown Medical Center, plastic surgery, which is one of the top 50 hospitals in the country. And it's a hospital where I've brought my family when they've ever had a problem. And I'm proud to have been involved in a major way at the hospital. When I became chief, I decided I would take a little bit of on-call. So I do maxillofacial trauma. I like patients who have smashed facial bones. It requires meticulous attention to put the face bones back into position so that they look normal again. And I like doing that. It's even if it's in the middle of the night or a weekend, I don't mind going out and helping someone. It makes a difference.
That's cool. How would your family and friends describe you outside of your practice?
Well, despite the fact I've had a hole-in-one in golf, they would call me one of the worst golfers they know. And as far as that, I'm probably the most happy-go-lucky golfer, because whether I get a good score or not, I really don't care. I'm just happy to be out with my buddies.
Yeah.
And I think in the hospital, I'm known as someone who, just is always happy to be there, always happy, regardless of whether it's delayed or on time. I understand that there are circumstances beyond our control. And I tend to be very spongeable in terms of ability to be able to, dodge with the things that are happening and take care of things. Also, the other thing is I'm very calm. No matter what happens, like the rock solid ship that's going to keep things going. Things can be going wrong, but I will figure out how to get it taken care of. And not one of these screamers, who starts yelling and screaming at everybody, blaming everybody in sight. I'm looking at the problem and figuring out how to fix it.
So Dan Kennedy is a strategic marketing coach, and in his book, he talks about how businesses deal with basically four struggles, and it's either money, time, people, or passion. And so, what would you say in plastic surgery is the biggest struggle?
Passion.
Mm.
You see passion? You
Mm-hmm.
have a passion for getting perfect results. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
accepting the result when it's the best I can do.
Mm. That
Because
is
my
interesting.
thing as perfect as humanly possible.
You're the first person that said that
Really?
in the series. Yeah, you're the first person that said that.
Well, because I do have passion for what I'm doing. I really love what I do. No matter who comes, no matter what their problem is, I'm happy to see what the problem is and see if I can help. I'll never
Mm.
forget when I was a resident, we had a very complicated case that I had scheduled for, and I was got it approved by my chief and everything else. And then I came in the morning to check the patient, and somehow, miraculously, the problem had resolved for the patient. And I
Mm.
was so happy that the problem had resolved. And I'll never forget one of the other residents looking at me and saying, you lost your case. I could
Mm.
care less. The only thing that was I wanted to do the case for was to help the patient, doing the case
Wow.
material, So needless to say, he's not a very successful surgeon.
That's crazy. Okay, so what's your long-term goal? Like, what are you most passionate about that gets you out of bed in the morning that, is gonna survive you for the rest of your life?
I get out of bed every morning. I'm happy to get out of bed. I have my fresh ground cup of coffee in the morning. I have a little yogurt or cottage cheese, and I like to do my exercise. Do my elliptical, watch a little TV while I'm doing my elliptical, and then get out to the hospital, do my surgeries. I'm always happy to get to the hospital, do my surgery, or in the office to see my staff. And there's something about dedicated staff that helps you move on and do the best you can. And I love working with the people I have the opportunity to work with.
Wow. So in a sense, you are living, your long-term goal, your successful life. Like you're living the
I'm
dream.
living my dream, seriously. It's like
Oh.
my dad used to work 80 hours a week in his store. He barely came home. We used to go out for dinner on Sunday nights. And I worked with my dad 30 to 110 hours in a retail store. And I don't work as hard as my father does. I wouldn't measure success that way, but my father was a successful guy. And I think every day is a successful day for me. The other thing I really love doing is I go to India once a year, and I've been going for 10. I used to go with a Dr. Dixit, who was my attending at Downstate. He was a wonderful doctor, and he would go for 6 months a year. And I went with him a number of times, but about 6 years ago, he passed away. So I'm dedicated to bring his spirit every year to India to help those children. And I do cleft lip surgery and cleft nose surgery.
That's so cool. So where can viewers learn more about you?
They can find me at www.docweinstein.com, docweinstein.com. The other thing is, I have quite a few before and after photographs on the plasticsurgery.org site. So I have 18 before and after facelift patients on that website, which is more than any other plastic surgeon in the world. I'm very lucky and fortunate that my patients allow me to share their photographs. Not everybody does, and if they don't want to, that's fine. As long as I have breath to breathe, I want to get full outcomes for my patients.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
Lexi, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope I wasn't too verbose.